Greetings, everybody. I'd like to share some dreams regarding the end times that I've had that began in the year 2022. And the first dream I had was in the year 2022. And in this particular dream, I was speaking to a brother of mine, and I was calling them by name, and I told them that Jesus is coming. And I repeated, Jesus is coming. And after that, I started speaking in tongues, and I spoke in tongues, and I spoke in tongues. Come the year 2023, 25th of January 2023, I had another dream. And this dream, I recorded it at 1:30 a.m. So I'll read it because I managed to put it down. In the dream, I was in a vehicle and we were 5 of us. The design of the vehicle was like the mini buses, but smaller, as the passengers sat in their own compartment from the driver. Then the gentleman we were with died, and before he died, it's like we had a foreknowing. We alighted without speaking to each other or even informing the driver. Then I went looking for another brother of mine, and I was sharing with him the person must have died, as he got the thing on the arm. And in one of the countries in the European area, it was reported that people got the thing in the arm were dying in big numbers. At this point, it's like there was a major happening and many people had died, and hence the discussion. The scene shifted and I could see 3 demons. 2 were walking upright, and the other, the scorpion demon, spoken of in Revelation, that will be released in the last days. Then I had the knowing that it's the rapture that happened, and I had missed it, and total terror entered me. Then I knew that since I had missed the trumpet, the only way to get to heaven was through torture, and I knew it would be brutal. And in the dream, I was trying to hide from the 3 demons before they saw me, as we were in the same vicinity, which looked like an enclosed place, a room with a door, and they were focused in opening the door, and it's like I was behind them. Then I found myself saluting the demons, rather lifted my hands up in total surrender, as I knew I couldn't go through the temporal torture. Then one demon that didn't have the scorpion on the list held a bow and arrow. Despite my salute, he still fired the arrow at me, and it hit my left hand on the backside and left a mark. I felt the pain in the dream and was inspecting the wound. Then in my mind, I was thinking how there is no acknowledgement or regard that I was with them, but they still shot at me. So the scene shifted again. I was now back on earth, and I saw so much disorder, and people went to the supermarket and stole bread. It's like bread was scarce, and that is what people had a need for. Then I went on the road and saw so much disorder. I passed a certain man, but I was about to walk above a bridge, and I saw a small car take off with much speed, and it rammed at the back of a bus that was ahead of it. As I was viewing this scene, I saw a young man look at me, and as I passed him, I knew he had a wicked agenda, and I had a mind of running and hanging on the back of this bus and escape from him before the accident happened. Then I felt someone put their arm around my neck, and I knew it was that man, and I awoke. In this dream, apart from the part where I met my brother, everyone was on their own. No family members facing the times, but individuals. Upon waking, I had total shock from the knowledge of missing the rapture. I then awoke, and after composing myself, I saw it was 1:30 a.m. on 25th of January 2023. I then had another dream in 2024 in April, I believe, and this time I was walking towards a building that had a man and a woman who posed as pastors. I knew that these were not genuine men and women of God, and they were fake, and actually they were deceiving people, and they were not genuine pastors. And therefore I went and I saw myself sitting with them, and I was sharing with them about the dream I had about the rapture. And in this particular dream, it was this year 2024. However, I was sharing with them the dream I had in 2023 that I've just spoken. And I was just allowed to share with them that part about the 3 demons that I saw. And therefore I was telling them what I saw and everything, and that the rapture had happened. And as I was speaking to this couple, this man and woman, I looked at the woman and I saw that she was expecting a child. And then once I was done speaking to them in private about the rapture and what is going to happen, I saw myself outside the church. And this time a small gathering of people had happened, but not so many people, not even 10. And I was just telling them the same information. But I remember as I was sharing with them, I was telling them, prepare that, hey, Jesus is coming. And I was even telling them that, hey, if you are here and you're dabbling, that you need to realize that Jesus is coming and you need to prepare. However, when I was sharing this sermon or this message with the people there, I know for reality, even in the natural, that this particular man and woman, they are not legit people. They use different powers for their church. But when I was telling people, when I was sharing with them that even if you're dabbling, you should prepare, I never exposed them and what they are doing. And for me, that is a show of total mercy from God. Also, another dream I had this year was one whereby in my country, I come from an East African country. This particular dream, I was allowed to see the CBD. And in this dream, I had a knowing that it was during the reset period, after the rapture had happened. It was during the 7-year period, so to say. And in this time, our country had been invaded by another country. Actually, an Asian country had set up base in this country, and they were controlling everybody's movement. There was no freedom of movement whatsoever. So in this particular dream, I spoke to the general, the Asian general, and he allowed me to continue with where I was going. And in this particular night vision, this dream, I was in the company of 2 other ladies. Therefore, we walked away from the general. It's like, hey, we have managed to speak our way, and he has allowed us. But as we're walking away from him, we met another man that was walking now towards the general. And he happened to speak to one of the ladies. I was with a companion, and I don't know, this other man is like he never believed what this companion I was with said, and we were asked to go back to the general. And I was actually asking my companion, why did you speak to that man? No, look what has happened, we have to go back, because apparently movement was prohibited. So when I went back to the Asian general, after this man had told us to go back, I found 2 other ladies speaking to the Asian general. And when I looked at one of the ladies, then I had a knowing that she was a professional, and she had a very good professional that time. But in this point and case, nothing mattered. What you were doing, what profession you were part of, never mattered. Nothing made sense, and everything had lost value. And also, I was allowed to see how much chaos had happened at this point. The point I was looking at this point at the CBD, we normally have skyscrapers, beautiful buildings, grade A buildings there to say. So I saw some of these buildings had been damaged, and of course I knew that there was no repair that's going to be done, and that was it, because times have changed, and that's how things were. Also, another dream I've had in the year 2024, in this particular dream I was at a house with one of my brothers, actually the brother that I follow, and we were in a room, one of the bedrooms, and in this dream I was allowed to hear the trumpet sounds. So I heard 2 trumpet sounds. So that when the first blast happened, I started looking at people. I could now see people. Like when you are having these visions, you can see much more. Like your senses are heightened, and you can even see beyond, and you can see distance. So there's no distance, there's no limitation when it's in the night, in the dream realm. So in this dream, when I heard the first trumpet sound, I started looking at people, and I could see some people transfiguring. So once the first trumpet sound happened, I started seeing people transfigure. The second trumpet blast happened, I could still see them being transfigured, because they have to be raptured. And also I saw myself being transfigured. And then immediately the second trumpet sound happened. At that point, a car horn sounded immediately after the second trumpet sound. And I asked my elder brother, hey, have you heard the 2 trumpet sounds? And my brother was like, no, I've just had a car horn. And that horn was loud, the car horn was loud. Then I was telling him, no, the trumpet sound happened prior to the car horn. You haven't heard it? And he told me he has not heard the trumpet horn. And then I told him, you know what, I've heard 2 trumpet sounds, and there's a third one about to happen. And once the third trumpet sound happens, the rapture you are going to be raptured. And that's what I told my elder brother. And that's how the dream, this particular dream, ended. So prepare, Jesus is on his way, and know that the price has been paid. Jesus has died for everybody. He has died for your sins, and he loves you, and there's no sin that is unpardonable, regardless of you going to false churches, regardless of anything. Once you ask Christ into your heart, he will save you. Because don't want to be here after the rapture. There'll be total chaos, there'll be total anarchy, there'll be so much defilement, there will be so much violence, there'll be a lot of looting, and there'll be so much fear and dread. So people, Jesus is on his way, and the rapture is nigh. Thank you.